Okay, now that we know how to create a project with Visual Studio, let's go to this uh, special demonstration about how to declare variables, etc. in C Sharp. For those of you that know C, is basically the same thing. Now, one thing, anytime that you see using, this is basically saying that we are going to get whatever is in the collection of system, and we have access to those methods to use them. Now, this one using static system console is basically the keyword static is for us to be able to have access of the methods that we have in this class to be able to use it. One example of that is WriteLine. WriteLine is a method that is contained in the class console. The system is actually a namespace. If you point to it, you see namespace system. Okay, and you can create your own namespaces by the way that we show it using Visual Studio. For example, I created this namespace called demo of arithmetic operations. So anytime that you create a program, you are going to create main, and main is a method that should be in every program. This is the entry point. So every time that you run a program method that is here, it will be through main. So here we have different data types: integer, double, and string. And the way that you declare variables is by saying the data type first, value, the name of the variable, and if you have more than one, then you separate them by comma, always ending with a semicolon. Now, if you want your program to be interactive, then you need to request from the users the input. So this is basically kind of like a 2 or 3 step process, where here, for example, you actually prompt the user to what you want he or she to do. Then the next step is to use read or readline, which actually basically what they do is read from the keyboard. See, if you point here, read the next line of characters from the standard input string. That will be the keyboard in this case. And when you do that, you always have to assign that value into a variable type string. Okay, so see, so when you do this, you know that basically readline returns a string. So you have to apply that to a variable that is string. That's why we declare a variable type string in this case, which is called input. Now, so if I want to input values into these two integer variables or these two double variables, then I have to convert them from string to whatever they are, integer or double. So one way to do that, one possible way, is to use the class integer or double, depending on the case, although here it says it's a structure, well, kind of. So each of them have a method. It's called try_parse, and try_parse basically is divided in two parts, two inputs. One where you specify what do you want to convert, which in this case is input as a string, and where do you want to send that out. So that's why we are using here the keyword out, So basically what we are saying here is send the content of input, change it, okay, to the conversion. See, try parse, basically if you read that, says converts the string representation of a number to its 32-bit signed integer equivalent. So in other words, we're taking the content of string and sending that out to value, which is an integer. Okay, so you use this class with integer values. I have another example of that, like for example, entering a number here, read line input, but in this case I want that to be double. So I'm using the class double, try parse again, which is basically the same procedure, and then send input out to number 1, which is a double. So that's how we take inputs from in an interactive way from the keyboard. So let's run this program. See, enter an integer number, so I'm going to enter 98, another one, 77. So the result of the sum is 175. So I'm going to enter a number. Actually, this is not finished, so I'm going to hit 8.9 because I know that's double, but I haven't finished yet. So I'm going to do the same thing for the second number. Now in this case, I'm going to also do a try parse, but for number 2. And the same thing, I'm going to add both of them. Okay, now we are going to record, add both of them like we did before. Plus equal number 2. Now we have to display them, so I'm going to take this from here. And instead of value 1, number 1. Let's see what happens. So we run the program, enter an integer number, that part you saw already. Now let's say try 3.2 and 4.56. So the result is 7.76. So see, that's how we actually deal with inputs of integers and doubles, and you basically have prompt the user, then you have to input the response of the user into a variable string, which that will be, this process is the prompt. This process is input the string from the keyboard to the variable type string. Then you have to do a conversion from the string to the value, is either integer or double. Once you do that, then you can manipulate, add the numbers, whatever is the calculation that you're going to do, and finally display the number. So I hope this has been useful.